All right. So here we go, people. Kayakjak is back in the house. Everybody has been asking me how many days you've been home in a row, and I said, "Ooh." So hopefully we'll get some people on here. I know a lot of people are interested. We got Josh waiting here, and we are looking forward to having a good night of talking about smallies. And you probably noticed a picture on my left, your right. There's those little bait safes that are covering up the lures, and I met this guy, and he showed me these things, and I like potato chip bag holders, but they're something much better. They actually, how many of you guys have reached back in your kayak or your boat or whatever, and you got snagged on your sleeve, or your lure snagged a bush or a tree or something because whoop, the treble hooks were showing, and I got a big old whopper plopper on this, and then I can cover it up, and this bait safe keeps it on her. So these are on Amazon. You just go under Sims Tackle, and the bait safe's there. Very sturdy, and I used them up in Minnesota, and they work really good. So I thought I'd give them a plug and let them know, let you guys know that they're out there. And you know what? The best thing I liked was it's just one hand. It's hands like ripping apart Velcro or a wrap or whatever. So, and especially when you're on the river like we were, you got to move fast with those things. So, anyway, also Kayak Jack Outdoors. That's kind of who sponsors this. So we have the Nico thing is really going good. We're going to hopefully be on Amazon here soon as well, and people are still buying hundreds of these Nico weights for their lures. So it's kind of cool. By the way, they work in dice baits too. So and then we're going to get Josh on here right away. You guys might know him. Uh, there he is. There's Josh. And
What's up?
hey, Josh. Yeah, no, see. And we got some guys, Steven Sturgeon and Trevor Wagner on here already. So we're gonna have a lot of people on, I'm sure. But anyway, Josh, I was very intrigued by you in person. I've seen you on podcasts, but man, you, I'm just gonna be straight up with you. You're like one of the most genuine and authentic anglers I've ever met.
Well,
Really.
thanks. I appreciate it. I'm
When
in.
you got to speak at a seminar at the Kayak Adventure Series, which that was we're going to talk about that in a minute, but um, the the ex, the the expertise you showed up there while you were talking to us, but yet you were down to earth with us, and I took copious notes, by the way, when you were up.
Just burn him, Marty. You don't have to keep those.
I'm a note taker to begin with, and write everything down, but you know, and then congratulations on your win there. That I mean, to give the seminar, to be someone that everyone looks up to, and you got these incredible baits we're going to talk about, and then you go out and kick everybody's butt with it, and then the boat you use, that story has to be told, man. And you know what? I don't know if there's a lot of podcasts bringing on anglers that are having success right now. So I thought, you know what? Let's get Josh on here and talk. And I know, like, people in the South, we don't have as much smallies as they do in the North. But I'm gonna tell you guys, this they talk about Smalley Disneyland up there in the Northeast, but this was legitimately Smalley Disneyland, wasn't it?
Oh man, it's that place is one of my favorite places on earth, if not my favorite. I mean, I don't go up there in the wintertime, so I don't have a cynical view of that Minnesota area. But in the summertime on the river, I mean, one, you just don't see a lot of people fishing for smallmouth up there because they have
Mm,
so many lakes and stuff, and
mm,
those fish just don't get harassed like a lot of the more popular fisheries where there's not as much else to do, and
mhm.
there's tons of smallmouth. They're big and they're dumb. That's about the like.
Yeah,
That's a great combination. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's it in a nutshell right there. So anyway, oh, we got Elvis Leon, man. So that's pretty cool.
I love Elvis. He's a good dude for sure.
He took me on a river trip with his son and his friend. I think it was Tim, and oh my gosh, I learned so much from
Yeah,
him.
he's a hammer. for
Yeah,
sure, dude. Him and his
yeah,
son both, like, they can fish. There's no
uh,
doubt about that.
yep, his kid's like a water bug out there. I mean, it's
I I've heard I haven't been around him, but I've heard he's like he like has his Newport
yeah,
and he's like out there buzzing around all the adults. I'm like, man, I wish I was doing that when that I was that age. I would have I can't imagine how much fun I would have had if that kind of stuff was around
no
back
kidding.
when I
I
was a kid.
I tell people I would not have graduated from high school.
Yeah, probably. You're
I would
probably
have
right.
if I would have had that in high school. But, anyway, real quick here, because some people aren't gonna know they don't know of you, and in fact, I didn't know of you till I started, looking at the adventure series and then the Smalley Talk and all that. But
Yeah.
you've got it going in the Smalley world. What just a little bit about you, where you live and what you do and so forth, and that'll help our viewers out here tonight.
Yeah, my name's Josh Chrenko. I live in Indianapolis, born and raised Indianapolis, Indiana, actually just a suburb just outside of there. I got 2 daughters, 11 and, 14, and, adoring wife, and, so I'm a family man, so that keeps me in check with the fishing addiction, I would say. It's, if I if I didn't have that, I would be a real piece of crap. I would be fishing literally every single day. Um, but I don't it's hard to say, like, describe myself, but I on my Instagram profile, it's, like, the best way I feel like I can describe myself. So I'm a smallmouth nerd. That's what I my Instagram profile. So everything that I kinda do and, make I like to make things, and they're all based around smallmouth, and, probably the 2 I'm most well known for would be the podcast, which originally started as a blog, which is called Quest for 23. A lot of people have kind of seen that
Mhm,
thing. We've used that branding and other stuff. But I host Smalley Talk podcast in our seventh season. We're, kind of around before the podcast scene got popular. It was it probably the last like 2 or 3 years. I feel like everybody has a podcast, but when we started that, it was kind of hard to get going. It was real clunky. And we're audio only. We don't really do video. So the best way I can describe Smalley Talks just we're a very non-serious, non-frequent. We we do maybe 2 episodes a month if we're lucky. And we just talk about smallmouth, everything from
mhm,
wading in creeks to being on big water on the Great Lakes. It doesn't really matter. We have guides. We have all kinds of different guests on, and then
mhm,
um, this is going in our 4th year. I started a Chegan 4 years ago, which a lot of people get confused about that name, but that is the Algonquin word for smallmouth. So that's what Achigan means, and it's basically a my way of sort of building a company in the fishing industry. And as you could probably guess, it is all smallmouth gear. So we do a lot of apparel. We do a cool thing called Smalley Games, which is like a interactive season long board game, and then we just recently this year launched our first lure, which is like a line of lures called Smalley Snacks, and our first one is the Munchie. And I'm sure you guys will grab a bag here so you can see it, but it's kind of snack food themed. All of our packaging is so. But yeah, as far as me as a person, I'm honestly a fish head. I'm about as much of a fish head as you could possibly imagine from time I was old enough to, like, walk. When I grew up with a pond in my backyard, and I was fishing and fell in love with it at an early age and literally have fished my butt off my entire life, whether that be in ponds and creeks, and
mhm.
I fished tournaments through high school, like, kind of bass boat type tournaments, and then got into the kayak scene, um, gosh, been 12, 13 years ago, and watched that sort of thing grow. And the kayak thing's cool because it got me on rivers, and then I kind of fell in love with the river smallmouth, and the rest is history. So yeah.
Nice. That's well said. Yeah, uh, the thing about you, though, is that it's all about smallies. there's no green fish involved. Although you might catch some sometimes. Yeah, there.
Right.
And he's got a full line of apparel, you guys, on his website, and it's Ashigan brand. Ashigan. It's how do you say it?
We say it Achigan by who knows what
I
the
call it.
actual
I thought it
it's
was something
actually like a French Canadian word, so I'm not
Ashigan.
pronouncing it how French people pronounce it. So
Ashigan, and he has a clothing there on the site. It's Ashiganbrand.com,
correct.
and
Yep.
all your things are on there. And if yeah, he's got a lot of cool stuff on there. And what was really neat was I know you pointed it out at your seminar as well, but there were like half the crowd had a Sheegan apparel on it at there.
Yeah, it was cool. It's
Yeah.
neat. I started that with my brother-in-law, who's an amazing artist, and my neighbor, believe it or not, who's an ecologist for the Indiana, and they're both extremely talented artists, and all the stuff we do is all designed in-house, so we don't, like,
Mhm.
sub out any of it. All of our clothing is very, we make it to last, so you could wear it on the boat, on the kayak, and it's gonna last you a long time.
Mhm.
So, it's not cheap stuff, but when you buy it's gonna be nice quality, high-end stuff, so yeah.
Cool. So you're the first person to put up 100 inches in the kayak adventure series in Smallies, right? Congratulations on that. And you got a Century belt, right? You have it with you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, hang on, I'll grab it.
Yeah.
It's actually
So
right up here
yeah.
on
So
my
he's got a
trophy.
first Century belt that was earned there.
I'm dropping trophies here, Marty.
Yeah, you got too many, man. You got,
I have yeah, I have this one shelf starting to get a little crowded. I guess that's a good problem to
all
have.
right, nice.
But yeah, this is
That thing,
the
pretty cool.
Century belt here. I wore it the night of the tournament. Drew made me put some beers in it and make a fool of myself.
Huh,
So you may have seen me on Instagram
that's
doing
pretty
that.
cool.
So,
That's pretty
but
cool.
yeah, yeah,
Well, you got that now. My question is, have any other tournaments like St. Clair? Has there been 100 inches on any other kayak fishing tournament? I don't know.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, there's a few fisheries out there that 100 inches of smallmouth is definitely
Hmm.
um, not common, but it's very within reach.
Hmm.
Um, and St. Clair is definitely one of those. Yeah, I don't know if anybody's done on a kayak in Erie, but I know Erie has full potential to do that. And then obviously like your St. Lawrence,
Yeah.
places like that. But Upper Mississippi, is a special place in that free flowing river,
Hmm.
and you have the ability to catch 100 inches because like if you go to St. Clair, I as much as that place is awesome. St. Clair is sweet.
Hmm.
Like if you hook a 20-inch smallmouth at St. Clair, most of the time, like there's no danger around.
Oh
It's in open water.
yeah.
You set your drag. You sort of take your time getting it in. And the Upper Mississippi, and it was bumping. It had
Hmm.
some
Oh
pretty crazy flow, and
yeah.
they know how to use it. There's trees, there's rocks, it's shallow water. When you're catching fish in anywhere from inches of water to maybe like 3 or 4 feet, like you're not catching them in 20, 30 foot of water. So it's a different game there for sure.
You had to have your head on a swivel the entire time because it was a couple times when I would catch a fish and they'd start and as soon as they get going downstream, it's like and the rod's going and then
Oh,
all of a sudden you see a tree coming towards you and
yeah.
you got to get yourself away from it. So
Yeah.
the yeah.
I see Josh Evans in the chat. I'm pretty
Uh,
sure he infamously lost a bunch of his gear on the Susquehanna doing something along those lines. So,
yeah.
yeah, in those sort of rivers like that are free flowing, there's a lot of like obstacles in whitewater. I mean, which I wouldn't say there's like a lot of whitewater on the Upper Mississippi,
Yeah.
not as much as there is on the Susquehanna, but it it's not for the faint of heart. You do have to keep your head in a swivel. You got to know what's going on around you, or you could easily get in a strainer, or definitely dump your kayak, which is not fun. So
Well, I got to tell you honestly, I've been on two big adventures in the last month and a half, maybe here. I went to British Columbia and we were out in the ocean in 10-foot kayaks and up to 10-foot swells. and you're at any you can be eaten by something out there. So, and
Yeah, different ball game.
and then I know, Paul Glass, who does the average what are they, the average angler guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah, Paul, he had a whale come up right next to him, you know,
Oh
I
my god,
it was
that's
behind
cool.
me, it was right behind me. I heard the whale, but I didn't see it. Happened so fast, but and then I go directly to the Minnesota to the river and even more action there. So I tell you what, I've had some adrenaline rushes in the past month and a half because of that. And I was looking forward to that event, and I'm glad that Drew shows that. And speaking of that, I want to we'll talk about your plan here, but the kayak adventure series, I don't know if people really know what that thing is all about because what Drew has put together is what kayak fishing really is.
Oh,
And
man, it's so fun, man,
and
it's
yeah,
so they Drew hit the nail on the head with those
yeah,
events, they're
and
so
the
awesome.
versatility of it, like you can fish lakes, he's always got a river involved. You can fish
Mhm.
creeks, and you've got some flexibility in where you launch. You know, for instance, on day 2, I went for the micro bag, and I was the only one at the ramp where I went. And the other days, let's go to where your game plan next year. That because I thought that was kind of funny, you know, humorous anyway, of how you started out your day one. And I actually was up in that place during practice and thought, oh, I'm going to come here, and I didn't. I went a different direction, but
You
I'm
would've been one more, man. I feel like
one more
everybody
guy
had that
up
same
there, yeah.
idea.
So go
Yeah.
ahead and tell us about your game. Tell us about your game plan so other guys can would know, you know, what they might do in a situation like we were in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of approach every tournament the same. The only exception would be, um, if I'm really intimately familiar with the water or not, and that place up there, I was familiar enough. I've been up there about a half dozen times, so
Mhm,
I, like, had a chance to really get to, and each time I went up there, it was, like, for a week. So, like, I've had a good, solid month plus on that river,
mhm,
and, you get to just know, like, how the different areas set up and what area I mean, for a tournament, you obviously are looking for the big fish, so if you find any concentrations of big fish where I think it's driven by a little more by genetics. So you have like a genetic pool of a certain, you know, a certain family of fish that like
mhm,
have, congregated in an area. And that could be they stayed there of forage base or whatever. But I'm always looking like, okay, if I fish this entire river for a week, like where am I going to catch most of my bigger upper end fish? And I knew that that place the 18s weren't gonna do it. I knew you're gonna need 19, 19 and a half plus, and, yeah,
mhm,
they're just like throughout the times I've been there, I kind of like, "Hey, I know these areas produce more of these fish." That's not to say there aren't in other sections, but there's just more consistently you're catching them in those particular areas, and, so, I mean, for me, if I'm familiar with it, I try to go and sort of do a faux tournament the first day I'm on the river. So the reason I do that is because it gives me the most separation of time in between when I'm going to actually be trying to catch those fish and when I'm catching them in practice. So it gives them a chance to kind of, not be bothered. Now, what you don't anticipate is how many guys are beating up those fish. I can't control that, but I can control what I do.
mhm,
So I try to go into the first day of practice, especially if it's a multi-day event, and I'll say, okay, where do I think if I had to fish this tournament blind and I'm coming in blind, I'm going to try to simulate that the first day of practice.
mhm,
And I did. And I went there and kind of like was like, yeah, the big fish are still here. I was catching big fish, and I was like, this sounds like a good plan. And then the rest of my time was spent going to other areas, and not to say that I wasn't testing those out to
mhm.
possibly fish during the tournament if I found a undiscovered place, but I was really just working on a pattern. I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
what time of the day are they eating what? Also paying attention to, what the weather was like, because obviously the weather was going to change, and what they were eating when it was overcast, what they were eating when it was sunny, what they're eating when in the morning, what they're eating in the evening, and try to like put together the best like you know theory of what I should be throwing during the tournament.
Mhm.
And sometimes you wake up in the tournament and a cold front comes in and like your plan is out the window. But in this case, it was fairly, it's summertime. We have like a storm roll through. Wasn't any huge system that came in that like disrupted the fish.
Mhm.
And I was kind of able to just execute the plan that I did in practice, and it
Mhm.
worked out. So
And what type of I know in fact, let me do this. Let me share our screen here and show people kinda what you were doing here. So that's you on the, and we'll talk about lures here in a second then. That's you on the river. Now, guys, it looks like a lake there, but I'm gonna tell you now, it's moving.
yeah,
It's
that's
it
an eddy where I'm kinda
it
tucked in, the
yeah,
current's coming around that
yeah.
little point there.
So tell us about that scene right there.
Yeah, so that morning I was practicing, and honestly, it was one of those Drew hadn't even been on the water at all, and, I was like, "Man, if you wanna go out, I'll take you to a good spot, where we can get some action," and he got the drone out and wanted to film first thing in the morning, and yeah, that day you can see it was overcast. That was actually an outlier day when we
Mm,
were there. It was the only day where it was overcast the whole day.
mhm,
We obviously had incoming and outgoing clouds like throughout, but most of the time we were there, it was like you were hot in the middle of the day.
mhm,
Um, that particular day was, yeah, it was cloudy. So I actually started throwing top water and never put it down
mm,
um, the
mm.
entire day. And that also makes for a pretty cool video because, it's a
Oh,
good
yeah,
top water take.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I went up this bank and actually Drew was filming with the drone and I could see the bank that I was fishing was not prime bank. So I kind of pointed up ahead and I was like, hey, let's go up to this point here and had his drone follow me. And you can see right there
Mhm,
what you have is, kind of the main stretch of the river is coming around a bend, not a real hard bend, but a slight bend.
mhm,
And then there's a little carve out right where I'm sitting. And that actually continues around probably about 100 yards, but, like, I'm at the very top of that carve out. So, right where that's at, there's, like, a little pile of rocks and, that little point feature, and there was a very distinguished, like, seam there where you had the current wrapping around that area,
mhm.
and it was really shallow up there, but, I sometimes people overthink fishing a little bit where they, like, think like, "Oh, there has to be this, like, magical spot," and it's like, here's the thing, at the end of the day, like, you don't even really wanna find the fish, you wanna find the fish that they're feeding, right?
Uh,
And if you're hungry, as a human, you go to, the grocery store or you go to a restaurant, you go where there's food, and this area, when you think about it, it's like this is their restaurant, so
mhm,
those fish will sit in some usually will either sit in the seam or they'll sit just to the side of the seam, and they have that current coming by, and all that current is doing is just like a conveyor belt. It's washing, little invertebrates, it's washing bugs, it's washing schools of bait fish kind of downstream. And as that stuff by, those things are in a position where they
mhm,
will go out, eat it, and then sit back. And they're expending as least amount of energy as possible
mhm,
while still being in an area that is active with movement. And
mhm,
whether that be wherever they might be hiding in some shade, which is,
mhm,
hiding their silhouette or wherever that's really what smallmouth like. They're in ambush points there where food is accessible. And
mhm,
sometimes they're not in a feeding mood, so you have to look for them in other places. That's part
mhm,
of it, but they'll never pass up an easy meal. So if you
mhm,
figure out where they're at, a lot of times if you get close enough, a river smallmouth is going to be eager to eat just because they're on a treadmill. They are constantly expending energy and they need to eat a lot. Whereas, Lake Smallmouth can kind of chill at the bottom of the lake and not eat for long periods of time. So,
Yeah, I noticed that's one I wanted to mention too with you. Thanks, Josh. That was great, and of the whole thing, how to depict that whole situation there. The thing I noticed though is that these guys are like these smallmouth like Olympic swimmers. I mean, think about
yeah.
it. If we were an Olympic swimmer and we swam 24/7, how good would you be? You know, and that
Yep.
these guys are like you say, they're on the treadmill 24/7, and when you use one, it's like, I it's a feeling let's put it this way, when I came back to Nebraska and I went fishing the other day, I caught 15 to 17-inch largemouth that felt like little bluegill, you know?
Yeah, a
I was
17-inch fish there does not feel like a bluegill. It does not
no,
even
a
close.
17th inch there is like, you might have a shark on or something. That they
Yeah.
I have a video, I'm putting a video out where Elvis took me out on a river, and, I had a couple of them almost take the pole out of my hands once they switched directions.
Yeah, I saw Jake, Hepner, he
Yeah, yeah.
filmed him literally, it took the rod out of his hand.
Yeah.
I had one snap actually, I have it right here, I'll show you. This is
Wow.
definitive proof. Um, the only reason I have it in my room is because I just filed a warranty claim. But you can see this is the end of a rod that's supposed to be 7 foot, but it's only about 4 foot long,
Huh.
and that's a clean break. It's not
And
it's not some like splintering deal. This is a medium heavy casting rod, and I had a 16-inch fish literally take a run under my boat, and I was just holding the rod like with one hand. I mean, I was kind of like holding it like that, and it just bend it over and snap the rod in half. So I've
I'm
never had a fish do that before.
the
So
those guys, Imma tell you right now, the people that are watching this, and some of you guys might that are watching might already live there, like Michael Thompson, he's in Smalley heaven, you know?
yeah.
And that guy's a stick too, man. But you guys that have not traveled there, I'm gonna tell you right now, I had the time of my life. I spent 2 weeks up there, and I fished in the rivers and all that. It that it I can't believe how good the fishing is, and the season is shorter up there, of course, for this type of fishing we were doing, I'm sure. Uh, man, guys, you gotta go take a trip there, but I would go with somebody, don't go alone because it is a little treacherous at times, especially with that fast moving water. But like Steve Billington just said here, he's from Missouri. He said he hopes to wax some wax. Oh, he hopes to wax some on Saturday. Oh, he must be going up north. I don't know where he's going. Maybe tell us there. But anyway, the next thing I'd like to tell us more about is you guys notice there in that picture, that's not a kayak so much. I mean, yeah, it is, but it's an osprey. But can you describe that rig? Because I was very fascinated by the Eric Scrivener.
Yep.
He has one as well, and I'm hoping to see one in the Yakov Awards this year. I told him to apply. He's got it all decked out. But tell us about your rig.
Yeah. So that boat is the Osprey 1436. It's made by Innovative Sportsman out of Pennsylvania. You guys know Innovative Sportsman. They make rock guards and all kinds of. Trey makes all kinds of different stuff, but it's an inflatable. Um, yeah, I don't. It's probably not fair to call it a kayak, but it's basically like a hybrid kayak slash stand up paddleboard.
Mhm,
But it's interesting because it's kind of built on the same concept as all those Western fly fishing rafts, where they have an inflatable raft and then they have like a metal frame that's strapped to it. This
mhm,
basically is the same concept. So instead of a metal like tubing frame, it's like this four-way track system that's bolted together. It's basically just setting on that inflatable. I know, like Jeff Little was instrumental in developing
mhm,
these. So, and that's how he honestly kind of talked me into getting one.
mhm,
And the advantages. a lot of times people think like, well, inflatables are lightweight and, I can travel with them. Thing isn't really that lightweight. Like it's I mean, it's definitely lighter than like a rotomold of the same size, but like I'm trailering it. I'm not, taking
Mhm,
it on the, you
mhm,
know, airplane with me. But but yeah, it's just I think the biggest advantage behind an inflatable is there is no keel to the hull. So in a river environment, when you're navigating current, if you're going upstream like we do with motors, and it is rigged out, ready to rig with a motor, you know,
mhm,
out of the box.
mhm,
Um, it's you don't you want current to be affecting your kayak as little as possible, so you can navigate whatever direction you want. And because that doesn't have a keel, current kind of just like goes underneath of it. You
mhm,
don't really
yeah,
feel the current.
mhm,
Um, and it also drafts shallower because it's a floating vessel, so it has a forced air chambers in it, so it's drafting very, very little, so it'll go really shallow, and
mhm,
it doesn't catch current. And, that combination on a river makes it really, really, really practical and effective.
mhm,
And, yeah, I mean, if I was going out on the Great Lakes or something, I probably wouldn't want it would work. It's not like you couldn't use it, but, like, you'd also get blown around. That's the
yeah,
downside of it, right?
right,
There's
right,
nothing stopping it, so it blow it across the lake or whatever. But in a river, you don't really deal with wind near as much, and,
mhm,
the current is your main adversary, and it really does a good job, of that. And it's a cool boat. I've used it for 2 seasons now, and I
mm.
love it to death.
Yeah, I
So
saw that's good. I saw several, and it's powered by a Newport, and you had foot steering too, didn't you, on there?
yep, yeah, Trey makes a foot steering kit that in a motor kit, you can rig up to 3 different things, so you could have, 2
Mm,
power poles back there or whatever.
mhm,
Um, it's definitely not the best paddling boat. I wouldn't recommend it,
yeah, yeah,
paddling any sort of long distances, but I did have a situation where I left my controller at home for my motor,
uh-huh,
and I paddled upstream like 3 miles with it, so it's not like you
huh,
can't, it's just not the best paddling boat. But yeah, it's foot steering, seats it's up real high, so you got a good vantage point. You don't have any hatches or anything like that, which is
mhm,
one of the downsides of an inflatable with storage. It's got a ton of deck space,
mm,
so,
mm,
you just have to
mhm,
use storage that sits on top of the deck. But, yeah,
mhm.
it's an awesome boat, so
Nice. Yeah, KP Enderly, I think he said, "Thanks for participating." That was me that participated in that, and that was a lot of fun with I met a lot of guys there, and, I actually was next to the winner of the eventual winner of the tournament, Sue Her. The dude is a stick. Oh, man, he's a stick. He had that figured out, and, well, I won't say too much about it, but, we were both gonna go to the same area, and I decided not to go there of all things, and he won it. So,
it's usually how it goes, right?
yeah, right, and that's fish set up there later in the day is what it was, but anyway, let's talk about your lures here. I think I've got a shot of your oh, there you are, holding the trophy, and then there you are measuring a fish on the shore, which is probably a good idea in that current. That's what I did too, is I put my Outback up against the side, but I like what you said, I come up here because it's my favorite place on earth. I just come up here and have fun. I fished all 4 days of pre-fishing. I live in Indiana, so it's like a 13 or 14-hour drive. It's not easy, but it's addicting. That was pretty cool. That whole thing right there is pretty cool.
It's
Um,
100% true. I
yeah.
would come up here I would go there every month if I didn't have any commitments down here. I would actually live up there in the summertime, let's be honest, if I could.
And you know what's really cool is, for instance, I fished there, and then I went to Clearwater Lake, which is like a phenomenal lake too, and had a blast there. And then I camped, and in the campsites, man, if you guys are camping, they take care of you there. They have activities going on for your family. They had a rock wall climbing thing for the kids there at one of the campsites I
Oh,
was
that's
at.
cool.
Brought it in. They had all kinds of craft stuff or whatever, and you could participate in that. So if you're bringing kids or your wife, whatever, there's plenty to do. But the other thing was, when now what was I gonna say? I was I was at I was talking about the camping. Oh, on the way home, I didn't take the interstate. Siri took me through the back country of Iowa, and it was all these rolling hills with green everywhere. And it was just really neat. The drive itself was made it even more fun than going down the interstate and seeing all these gas stations every 10 miles. I had to really strategically plan the gas stations because I didn't see one for like 100 miles when I was driving.
Minnesota is awesome. I mean, like, it's underrated, I think, because it's just the
Mhm,
winters there are so harsh, but
mhm.
I don't know if you were in there, Marty, when I was kinda waxing poetic about about Minnesota, but, like, everything just is, like it looks healthier there, like, it
Yeah,
pops in the summertime, like,
yeah,
the bald eagles are huge and their colors are so stark. I don't know if you noticed the deer, the
mhm,
whitetail there, they were, like, red. They were,
mhm.
like,
Yeah,
super red. Um, the smallmouth obviously speaks for itself, like, they're
yeah,
just everything's big. The crawfish are big, the bait fish are big,
yeah.
it's just a tell when that hits summertime, that place comes alive.
Oh, yeah.
It's just it's a
But
cool place.
I did make the comment to some guys the other day that I believe that the northern pike there work for tackle shops because
Oh my god, I
Their
know.
job their job is just to snip your line. I I have a I mean, honestly, I would cast a chatterbait and it was like snip, like it just somebody just took a pair of scissors and cut it,
Oh my gosh,
you
I
know?
know. That's so frustrating, especially running low on a certain bait and you're
Yeah,
doing well with it.
yeah,
Like, I had him break off 4 different wake baits, and, like, I had some back at home, but, like, I think I had, like, 3 in my box. I was like, "Oh, I won't need more than these
yeah,
things." And sure enough, all 3 of them, I lost the pike, so, yeah,
yeah,
go figure.
so I figured out with Elvis, slack water has pike and running the current has smallies.
Yeah, yeah, and the I will say, I do find pike and smallmouth in a lot of the same places.
Yeah,
They overlap in places where they're kind of like a mix, there's current nearby.
uh-huh,
Like, pike definitely like, they like that kinda, like, lakeish stuff looking, the grassy, the lily pads, the, like, dead water,
right,
but if there's current nearby, smallmouth can be in there too, and yeah, and they don't fight super hard, but they, like, their strikes are
yeah,
vicious, and when they hit your lure, especially, like, top water, you're like, "Oh my god, it's a 20 inch smallmouth," and then, you're like, "Oh,
yeah, I
shoot."
call them slime rockets. They
Yeah, I
and
don't like
P, I just wanna let you know that if I come up for your pike tournament, I will bring a heavy wire leader with me.
Yeah, no joke.
Okay, so
I
it's
couldn't imagine throwing, like, high dollar swim baits around there, man,
no
that'd
way.
be
Yeah, no way. Okay,
yeah,
so here's a I took a picture of your, lure. The one in your left hand, our right, of course, a chatterbait, the Evo, it looks like, and
uh-huh.
I'm sure you use that. But more specifically, it looks like you got a munchie there in the other hand, one that you've created. Can you tell us about that lure there?
Yeah, I have one right here, so you guys can check it out. Got one
Munchie.
rigged up. Yeah, so, the story behind that was, I am a big no fluke guy, and in fact, there's, like, not I definitely didn't invent that technique, but some people call it the Chrenko rig, because I fish it with it so much,
Mhm,
and, I've caught so many big fish on that, but you also catch a lot of small fish on it, so it's
mhm,
kinda like it's a very versatile rig, but you can definitely catch a lot of, small fish on it, and um I got into throwing swim baits a couple years ago, really last year, really frequently. I won several tournaments on a mag draft, and I was like, I love throwing a mag draft, and
mhm,
I was like, I wonder if you could kinda combine the size, uh, the attention that a mag draft garners from smallmouth, but in like a fluke action form. And
mhm,
yeah, it was our goal to get into lures at some point at Achigan, and that was our first kind of
mhm,
idea. And it started out with a napkin sketch this spring, and or I guess I would take that back, last so a year
mhm,
spring ago, and then and then turn into prototyping and then kind of the branding plan, and yeah, that's what. So it's a huge fluke with the tail. You can see is extremely exaggerated.
Yeah.
Um,
And what's it made out
so
of? What's it made out of?
so it's made out of silicone, which is somewhat unique in the fishing industry. There's not a lot of baits made out of silicone, so
Mhm.
more durable than plastic for sure,
Mhm.
but it sinks. So I would say the durability is similar to like an Elastec type of bait, but it doesn't float. So on a
Mhm.
bait fish profile, you don't really want it to float. So you don't have to put weight in it to get it to sink. It's kind of it's just a little bit more than like neutral. So it like sinks without any in it and just a hook,
Hmm.
maybe like a foot every 10 seconds. So it sinks
Hmm.
pretty slow. So
Hmm. Nice. And then, you mentioned before about the quest for 23. Believe it or not, in Nebraska here, I've caught I've caught a couple 22 fives back in the day. Never caught a 23. Now, there's guys that claim they've caught 23s and 24s here in Nebraska. I've never seen like on a catch board or anything like that. But we do have a contest here in Nebraska right now where if you catch a 23-inch bass in any of our tournaments that I put on, you get a free kayak of any kayak you want from Hoodoo. And
dang, that's
so far
sick.
this year, yeah, so far this year, we haven't had a 20 yet, but there's been a 21.5 caught, I believe, that I've seen turned in. Not with us,
Hmm.
so. But for you, though, and we're not going to give that away because that's going to be our guys. We're going to give away a prize tonight. We're going to ask a question, but we're not going to say what the question is yet here. Um, but has anybody that you know of caught a 23-inch smallie?
Um, there have been, I would say, maybe 8 to 10 that I've seen on a board that I have verified. Yeah, that's 23. A
Hmm.
lot of guys have said that they've caught 23s.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I typically reserve judgment until I see them on a measuring board.
Mhm.
Um, but they're unicorns, like big
Yeah.
time unicorns. A 23-inch smallmouth, and that doesn't even matter if you're in the Great Lakes or you're on St. Lawrence or you're on Dale Hall. It doesn't matter. 23 inches is like rare air
Mhm.
for a smallmouth,
Mhm.
and so really, really rare. Um, it's an old fish. I mean, 23 inches is going to be at least a decade old, probably more like 13, 14 years old.
Mhm.
And and they have to have the right combination of genetics and growing season and all that to get to that length. So it is possible. There are some out there, um, but super rare, way more rare than like a 10-pound bass,
Mhm.
largemouth.
Are there
So
guys out there that like your quest is a 23? Are there other guys out there that they just are fishing for that 23? I would think Jordan Westerman is.
yeah, when I started that, I kind of was like, that was my like just personal thing. I was like, dude, it'd be awesome, like, because I
Mm,
busted 20 so many times, and then you have like you start getting up, and 21s are actually like pretty common, like common enough to where like, if you know what you're doing, you're gonna run into them. You get up into the 22s and above, that's a super, super rare accomplishment.
mhm,
So, like, and then 23, yeah, I feel like is this like threshold, where it's like
mhm,
just don't see it very often. In fact, on Smalley games, I mean, had thousands of fish submitted, and not a single one has been 23. And
mhm.
honestly, there was only one 22 last year out of all the fish that were submitted. So,
Wow.
whereas like 21s are like, now, you obviously have to go certain places hold more of those type of fish, but, like, 21 is a very, like, commonly reached adult stage for, like, an average smallmouth. I
Mhm,
think, like, a lot of them just cap out at 21. They just don't get any longer.
mhm.
Um,
Get you.
Genetics, you know? Yeah, it's like I think it's similar to, like, saying a 7-foot human, you
Yeah.
know? It's like, how many guys do you know have you ever met that are 7 foot? Like, I can maybe think of, like, 1 or 2 I've ever met in my life.
Mhm.
I think it's similar. You gotta have the combination of genetics and be live that long and all these things, so, um, it's cool, man. I'm very confident I'm gonna catch one day.
There you
Like,
go.
yeah,
That's
but it's gonna be a lifelong thing,
oh,
so.
yeah. So, like, here's something that's on my wall in my bass cave. See
Oh,
the
that's sick.
that's ok that's actually not I don't that's not the fish. That's a
Yeah,
picture.
but that's the Tennessee award that they give
Yeah,
out for those
yeah.
fish. Yeah, that's super
And look at the
cool.
length on it. Can you see the length?
It says
20
20.75, is that what
yeah,
it says? Yes.
20.75. I caught that in the KBF National Championship.
Oh,
It
that's
was
awesome.
20.75 on Barkley.
Hey, man, there's some huge smallmouth in Kentucky and Berkeley, dude. Like, big, big smallmouth.
Yeah, so I got lucky and got that one on an eco rig.
I wouldn't call that luck, man. That's,
Yeah.
skill, Marty. You're a hammer, dude. Yeah, don't be selling yourself short there.
there was one rocky point in the entire cove, and that's where that was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, like I said, don't overthink it, right?
yeah,
You
right.
know?
Yeah.
It's Occam's
So
razor. The most plausible explanation, is probably where the fish are at. So
yeah. So, like, yeah, Nebraska, it's 18. Here's one. Steve Billington says his PB's a 19. His goal's to get a 22. That's going to be a tough, Steve. Now, by the way, I do want to plug Steve here real quick. He makes. Have you seen these yet, Josh? He makes those little plates that you put on the catch boards. They slide on.
yeah,
And
I
he
have I have one, but I don't think it's his.
okay. He made. Oh, he does a good job, man. He does a really good job. And
I'm in the market for a new one because the one that I had at the tournament was pissing me off. So I might have to go check his stuff out.
well, he'll probably get a hold of you. Steve, get a hold of Josh. Maybe you guys will work something out. But he made that giant one for me. That's out in my truck, but because I'm leaving in the morning for another tournament. But he made a giant one, and I can put like all kinds of identifiers on it and
Yeah.
stuff like
Well,
that.
I funny story. One of the fish I caught in the Kayak Adventure Series tournament was so big, so
Hmm.
tall that it covered up my identifier in that holder, so I
Yeah,
had to take it off and,
yeah,
set it on my deck, so and that's no joke, those fish
yeah.
that tall, they were covering
Uh,
up identifiers.
I had the same thing happen with I caught it 18. I think it was an 18.75, and it
Yeah.
it was just a football, and it
Yeah.
covered hard up. And so I actually called Drew to make sure it was okay. That one was okay. It covered up
Yeah.
hard, but it didn't cover up the ID,
Yeah,
on it.
some of them look like they're built like sunfish, man, it's like
Yeah,
a big
yeah.
bluegill,
Oh,
so,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So anyway, next, and I really appreciate all you said. Anything else that you wanna add that, we didn't talk about, here? And also, I'm real quick, though, I'm gonna write an article about the tips that you gave at the seminar. I'm gonna quote you on those as well, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
on our Intel page for people because I think some of those tips were real relevant to what we're doing out there. For instance, upsizing your lure and standing up and sight fishing, things like that. But the one thing, get this, the one thing that stood true was you said fish to the last second. Well, I just before you say anything, last night in a tournament, we have league nights here. And I actually caught a fish in during the last minute and got it photographed for an upgrade. It moved me up a place, I think. But
Yeah,
the guy that won it caught two in the last 5 minutes that won the tournament.
man.
And we're old guys. We were both 65. I'm 66. He's 65. But even us old guys fish to the last second. So if you want to just touch on that for a second, that part of it, that'd be great.
Yeah, I've been on both sides of that, where it's like I've won a tournament in the last second and I've gotten beat,
Mhm.
in the last second. I actually there's a local, tournament here on the White River. It's kind of our, you know, backyard river that runs through the city of Indianapolis, and I I have yet tournament. I think I've gotten second 4 times, and then I've gotten third a couple times and fourth like 6 or
Mhm.
7 times. I've, like, always do well, but I've never won it. was one year where I was just dialed. Like I was catching fish left and right, just torching them. I was in the lead all day,
Yeah.
and I was like, "I got this thing won." And some guy, which he's a great angler, but he was fishing a different section than me and, like, struggling. He had a 13-incher on his board,
Ooh.
um, for the whole day, and with 5 minutes left, he caught a 17 and upgraded 4 inches and beat me by a half inch.
Wow.
So, um, yeah, I think, I I don't know if there's, like, any sort of science behind it, but I've just found that in any sport, you know, like,
Mhm,
I'm
mhm,
from Indiana. If you guys are NBA fans, you watch the Indiana Pacers on
mhm,
a absolutely historic run, and,
mhm,
like, what made it historic was all the last minute comebacks, and,
mhm,
you know, I've been taught playing sports growing up, whatever, like, you
mhm,
play till the whistle blows,
mhm,
and
mhm,
I think a fishing tournament can be the same thing where just some magic tends to happen that last
mhm,
10, 15 minutes, and I've had it happen, and I've seen guys sulk and cry and tuck their tail and load up their kayak with 30 left,
mhm.
and I'm not that guy,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
if I'm struggling, like, I'm gonna be out there making a cast until I literally can't fish anymore, whether I'm winning it or whether I'm in last place.
mhm,
And, I don't know, I just think it's a good practice to have is, like, you know, take advantage of all your time. You just never know what that next cast might bring, and
mhm.
yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
think it's a good lesson, so
same here. I mean, I've won a lot of tournaments like that KBF that I caught that smallie. I caught a largemouth in the last 5 minutes on a roadbed, and that vaulted me to 7th place where I wasn't even gonna have a place before that,
yeah,
right? And
and the one fish can do that,
yeah,
especially
absolutely.
I won the Bassmaster on the Susquehanna,
Mhm,
in
mhm.
2023,
I remember that.
and that first day 1 of that tournament, I had 4 fish for the longest time, and you have all these emotions and thoughts that go through your head of, like, "What if I don't catch a limit?" I mean, I had, like, crazy. I had like a 19 and a half, a 19 3 quarter, a 19 and a half, and then I don't think I had a 20 that day, but I had like 4 over 19, and I just didn't have a fifth fish, and I
Dude,
didn't catch it until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So,
wow, wow.
I caught 7 fish all day on day 1. I grinded for
Jesus,
them, and
wow.
it was like one of those things where it's like, "Hey, that one fish can make or break you, and you just never know, what might happen." Even if you lose a fish, keep fishing because there might be one right behind it. You just don't
Mhm,
know.
absolutely.
So
Alright, so what we're gonna do here is our first we're giving away 2 prizes, you guys, right? A $50 gift card, right? To
yes, sir.
to a Sheegan. Guys,
Yep.
that's like that's like some munchies maybe or something, isn't it?
Do have
Uh,
a handful of munchies left in stock right now, so
oh, there you go,
you could
okay.
snag a pack, so
Right, or a Smalley shirt or something like that. So,
yep.
okay, so what we're gonna do, here's the question. Alright, guys, get ready, and probably people will hopefully be on here. There's a few people still on here, I think, so and by the way, this will be on podcast so people can listen to it later as well and on our Intel page, so it'll get a lot of views later on for you, and we're gonna give but right now, let's give, your website is it's right there, Sheeganbrand.com, right?
Yeah, ACHIGAN
Yeah.
brand.com, that's correct.
And then to on Ins are you on mainly or Facebook or
Instagram, yeah, and Facebook. Instagram probably more than anything. It's just a Chegan brand on Instagram,
mhm,
and then Facebook. You just search
and
shirts
you're
of Chegan. There's not too many people things that'll pop up. So
yeah. Well, Facebook is more old people than me, and I'm losing a lot of friends these days because
yeah,
long
I know how that
story there. Anyway, so our trivia question is this, you guys get ready. And then it's the first one that pops up in the comments, guys. For if it's the first one that pops up. But Josh has caught a giant smallie. How long is his personal best smallie go? And that's anybody can guess that. So and the answers should start coming in here. You guys can guess. The first one that hits it on the nail gets a $50 gift card. You'll and by the way, whoever throw in, you message me your address, and I will get it to him, and then you
Yeah,
can go.
if you want, whoever gets it will I'll just have him email,
Okay,
me, and I'll send
okay,
a code to him.
okay, good. Oh, that'd be good, okay.
Oh, we got a winner,
There it is.
baby.
There it is. There it is. Jason
Jason
Lovell.
Lovell.
He's from,
Yep,
Colorado. He's a hammer out there, man.
yep,
That
22 and a
22
quarter.
1/4, that's one, okay, 22 1/4. That's, yeah, that's, he's got it. Trevor Wagner also guessed it right. Does he know you, Trevor?
I don't know. I feel like I know Jason's name, but yeah, I it's hard
Yeah,
to say. I think Jason may
yeah.
follow us on Instagram,
We're go
so
we're gonna say this is good because I know he's trying to say 22 1/4. So Jason, in the $50 gift card, so you need to email him. What's your email?
yeah, you can just, achiganbrand@gmail.com.
Okay,
That's a good
okay,
one. I'll
alright.
if you shoot us an email and we'll get you one. If he's bought stuff from Achigan, which I feel like
Yeah,
he has, I'll have his stuff. But yeah, and that fish was I think you have
here,
pictures of
here.
it.
Yeah, we got a picture. Here, I got a picture. I got a picture.
Yeah, I
Oh,
it
wait. First of
oh,
all,
there's the munchie.
we got it. We'll come back. We'll might come. Anyway, there it is. Sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
22 and a quarter is 5.66 pounds.
Shoot.
I got a scale on it. Um, so that fish was caught in early February, which is obviously wintertime. You can see there's no leaves on the trees. Um, that has become like secret low key my favorite time of year to fish. Now, I still like pre-spawn better, you know, and fall close there, but man, uh wintertime, it sucks to be out there because it's so cold, but man, you can catch the giants in the
Where
winter.
was that at?
That's in a river in Indiana.
Okay,
So,
in Indiana.
yes, sir.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, I caught a
Incredible.
22, a close. I got a 22 this spring in Michigan, which was kind of a close second on the munchie.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, that one was on an Ed rig. We were dragging low and slow
yeah.
all day doing that stuff. So,
Wow.
yep.
That's incredible. So, yeah. So, anyway, Jason hasn't said anything here yet, or he's happy or not, I guess. We'll see, but there you go.
He says that
Said,
sounds good. Thanks.
he
Yeah.
said things. He won the Nebraska Bass Nation the year this year, 2 years ago, to go to the little
That's
classic.
awesome.
So, yeah,
Heck yeah, man.
we've met up a few times out at, Elwood Lake, about, halfway for all of us. The Colorado guys fish Nebraska lakes quite a bit, so they can get a little green in their action, and
Yeah, heck yeah, man.
they got a lot of
Yeah.
small. I'm actually fishing their series too this year, and having fun with those guys there. I'm thinking about going to Pueblo Lake in Colorado for their championship if I can work it out. Uh,
Are you gonna be at Susky?
I am not. You know what? I went 2 years in a row.
Oh, Marty,
I
man, I was
I
looking forward
know.
to
I
hanging with
know.
you, man.
I know. But uh, you know, I put my adventures a little bit different this year because I've
Sure.
experienced 2 years in a row. The drive about kills me.
It's probably way more for you than it is for me. Yeah, I'm actually, I wasn't sure I was gonna, although I wanted to. It's you know how that goes. It's
Yeah,
like kids and job and work, but it actually my
yeah,
the seas parted, and I was like, I have nothing,
yeah.
no obligations that weekend,
There you
and
go. Yeah.
I know, and I'm actually teaming up with my dad. So me and my
Nice,
dad are going out there, and
nice.
we're gonna do the team thing. So it should be
Now,
fun.
are you gonna fish the Kayak Adventure Series up there in Pennsylvania as well?
The you talking about the Allegheny?
The Allegheny one.
Uh, yeah. So it depends on how I do at the Susky one. If I have a shot at Angler of the Year, I'll probably try to do that one.
Mhm, mhm.
I've already been doing. I do my research very far in advance because of all the no contact rules and stuff.
Yeah,
So like I'm researching the Allegheny right now.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
There was a
trying
show
to
today. There was a show on today
yes,
about
yes, there was a
that.
show. I was watching it. Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting
Uh-huh.
tournament, and Yeah, we'll see, but, I would like to do it because that's actually a shorter drive for me. It's only about 6 hours,
Yeah.
and
See,
so
that one's
yeah.
only 14 for me, and I thought, our state what our club championship is that same weekend here. That's kind of a big deal, and I got the AOI here last year, but right now it's not. It's not good right now, but we'll see what happens. Don't know.
Yeah, I would love to win the AOY for CAC Adventure Series. I feel like that'd be
That'd be cool. They're
be
they're
pretty cool.
up up
There's
in the
I
air.
think Adam Coleman is winning right now, and he's got a couple really good, but I
Yeah.
think the way the point things work, like, it's if I
Uh,
do well at Susky, it's just gonna come down to how that last tournament,
right.
finishes
I'm
up,
gonna tell you,
so
Elvis Lee is the dark horse.
Oh, he's not a dark horse. That dude's
And I'm
a
just saying that not no what I mean by that is no one's really mentioning his name, but I am.
Oh, I yeah, and the only thing I just know Adam's in the lead. I don't honestly, typically don't worry about, anybody but myself, Like, I'm not the guy that's, like, worrying about what everybody else is doing. When I'm
Right.
fishing, like, I have a game plan, I execute it, and, whatever, it's me the fish, not me versus the other guys. That's kinda how I view it.
Yeah.
So
Alright, so who wants to win a lure cover by Bait Safe here? These are pretty cool, and they're 3D printed. They're made in America, made in Texas, by the way, and like I said, I've been using them, and so we're gonna give away a pair tonight, and so if you win, you gotta message me with your address, but look at this, it comes look at that whopper plopper underneath. The thing that I was intrigued by was, again, how many times have you reached back and got your clothing snagged or when you weren't using that rod, you know what I mean?
all the time. I'm a hot mess,
Yeah.
so
So, anyway, here's the trivia question, guys, the first one to answer. We might still have some guys on here. What is the name of the lure that we've been talking about all night? That's what's what's it called? This
Now
should
do
be
they have to spell it right?
oh, they don't spell it right. We'll see if somebody says something here or puts it in there, and we'll let them know that they won them. These are like, I think they're like $9 a piece. There it is, Steve Billington, he wins a pair. Good job, Steve.
Yeah.
The munchie. So,
Let's
that's cool.
see.
I'd like to go
Steve
back.
Owen's in the house. I saw
Yeah,
him
Steve.
just
Hi,
join,
Steve.
so
Yeah, their munchies are coming in. Let me, go back to the slideshow. I wanna talk to Munchie real quick before we go. Um, let me press escape and then get back to the Munchie and then, start from beginning. Here we go. Uh, there it is. Is it on there?
I don't see anything quite yet.
Oh, I didn't share the screen yet. I gotta share the screen. I lost it there. There it is. You see it now?
Yep.
Okay, so I better make it bigger here. Hold on. From beginning. So I'm always screwing this up, but okay, there we go. How about that? So there's the munchie, guys, and can they order them or is there gonna be a drop?
So we do them in drops, but there's a handful of them. I was just at the office, earlier today, and we have I don't know, we probably have, like, 10, 15 packs left, but there are a couple colors I guess people weren't as
Yeah.
enthused about, but it's a green pumpkin, which is, like, pretty standard, and the Oshad, it's a kinda silver and purple one, which I actually like that. I'm actually surprised that it,
Mhm.
hasn't sold, but, yeah, I mean, we up until this last drop, which we dropped a bunch of packs, especially the popular ones, they sell out, right away.
Mhm.
So you just gotta kinda our Instagram,
Mhm.
and we'll, announce when we're doing a drop, and it's kind of fun to do a drop and my phone
Mhm.
dings. It makes a little cha-ching sound every time we get a sale, and it's like
That's
going
cool.
cha-ching,
Yeah,
cha-ching, cha-ching,
yeah.
cha-ching. It's kinda fun, but yeah, we do drops. I was just making some today. I was actually pouring some for my personal stash for the
Uh-huh.
Susky today, but, I'll have some I think we're planning on doing a bone drip here soon, so we'll have
Oh,
some
yeah, that'd
bone.
be a good color. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. So,
That's the other thing is I'm hoping for a bone-colored Nico or I
yeah, I like
what
that.
color? I use green
Yeah.
pumpkin. I but funny thing is I just made like 50 more Nikos for the weekend here. That and it's even though I use that sleeve, I still lose peop up north, the smallies just rip the heck out of them. You
Yeah.
know, even
Oh, yeah.
elastic doesn't matter. They just kill it. And so anyways, yeah, you guys can get these. There's still a few out there.
You
Um,
guys can see, like, the I
oh
saw
yeah,
Steve Billington was talking about silicone. We use a very specific type of silicone, it's platinum cure, so it's like a two-part deal, and it stretches really
wow,
far, so it's very durable from
yeah,
that standpoint, so
wow. Okay, so anything else you want to say? Thank anybody or
I mean, and I appreciate you having me on, Marty, honestly, I don't really have any other besides, yeah, it was a blast hanging out with you and getting to know you, and you've been a guy that's, like, I've known your name for a long time because you're one of the G's of the kayak world, so it was really cool to get a chance to meet you in person and hang out, and, dude, we had a blast up there. It was really, 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 really fun, so
yeah, same here, man. Likewise, and met a lot of cool guys there. And the cool part was I about all these guys like you and these other guys, and I didn't know them personally. And then it was funny because we were at that house for a couple nights, and a couple of them said, "Hey, you're the guy that writes those articles."
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I know you from.
Yeah,
I think just you being around and doing the writing and stuff, I've read a bunch of your articles
yeah,
previously, so,
yeah,
and, I would say, like, just Drew's, uh it's not just Drew, he's
yeah,
got Jake
yeah.
and got a lot of people helping him out with it, but
Mhm,
the Kayak Adventure Series, if you guys are into kayak fishing,
mhm,
at some point, you need to go do one. It's just it's a I w it's the anti-kayak fishing tournament, It's just
mhm,
like
mhm,
it's more fun and less tournament. Even though it's very serious and guys compete and
yeah,
everything around it is just, like, really, 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 really fun, and,
mhm.
yeah, I think, some of the other kayak series, I think it'd be nice for them to take, a page out of Drew's book and maybe not, all the other stuff he does with, like, where you can launch and all that stuff. Because I think some guys really want to keep it more structured, but the awards thing and like, all that is it makes it so much
Oh,
fun.
yeah. I mean, think about it. Almost everybody showed up for the awards.
Yeah, it was awesome,
It was
like,
great.
and winning that tournament was so much cooler because of that,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh,
It
yeah.
felt so neat, it felt like an event, so
And they have
I
they
liked it.
have the, video like, little captions and pictures and those and then the s but in a classroom, I was not very engaged ever, but I had my head forward like this the whole time, engaged in that because Drew made it so suspenseful,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he
but they
video
flashed my score up too
oh, yeah,
prematurely, I don't know if you
that was
noticed
okay,
that.
but
I was like,
other
"Come
than
on,
that
guys."
yeah, that was anticlimactic on that one. We kinda
Yeah.
knew we kinda knew you had a good score anyway. But to see, and listen to Michael, Thompson, I
Dude,
mean,
that guy's awesome.
th that it is kinda like he's like Superman because when he's up there, you're like, "That guy," because Michael's not a very big guy, and then in his pictures, it looks like he looks like Superman super kayak guy, you know?
That's crazy that dude did it paddling on that river, it's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
remarkable, he's a good dude, yeah, he went into his, Macho Man Randy Savage impression, like, at the drop of a hat, I was like, "Oh my gosh, who is this guy?" It
yeah.
was pretty funny.
So those are the
So
fun things about it, but yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Drew's got a thing going, and not to discredit anybody else, I mean, Steve Owens does a heck of a job with the Batters,
oh, yeah, for sure.
and then there's the team series that those guys doing down south and the east, and then there's, Josh I know Joshua Booth has tried to get some stuff going in Midwest, and he runs that classic, All-American Classic where your club can qualify there, and he's the All-American is I don't know if it's gonna be around next year, but it's been a good series. And then, each state has their own, of course. The native
Yeah.
watercraft, catch all you can. There's so many different ways you can go out and compete at the same time. But I
Yeah,
have
for sure. And Drew's isn't perfect, it has things
Uh,
about it I think that could
mm,
be better and
mm,
get better, but I
mm.
think we all take a page out of each other's books of what we
Yeah,
do well
yeah,
and, like, try to improve just the sport overall, and,
right.
man, he got some cool stuff going. I know I wanna go back and fish that. That's, like, my favorite
Yep.
series to go fish now, so,
And
yeah.
like I said, I learned if I knew what I learned after before, I'd probably done a little better, but what I, El when Elvis asked me to come out on the river with him, I didn't hesitate, and, I learned so much in 4 hours. He put up 95 inches in 4 hours out there.
Yeah, he's a freaking hammer, dude. I was
Yeah,
actually, like, sneakily looking at that board waiting on him to come on up and challenge me, but, uh, yeah, I mean, it's you catch 25 inches of smallmouth, it's hilarious that, that's, like, a
yeah,
disappointing day in a
yeah,
tournament for somebody, but, um, that place is wild out there, and
yeah,
sometimes you get the big ones, and sometimes you don't. Just
yeah,
that's what makes
and
fishing interesting.
yeah, and the thing is that Elvis is actually grooming his kid, he's teaching his young son how to fish the river while fishing himself, so I thought that was pretty cool for him to be able to do that while he was, helping his son out there, and, so
Mhm.
anyway, I know you got some of you guys have kids out there, man, get them out, they're the future of the sport, future of all that
Yeah.
we do. You're one with nature when you're out there. And I did want to mention earlier, you talked about the deer. I didn't have my camera on. I didn't bring it. The storm kind of made me hesitate, but I actually had a deer come down to the water right in front of me and get a drink right in front. And it was,
You're in Minnesota when.
yeah, yeah. But I did have my swivel when I went to the woods.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
Oliver Elvis, hey, let's keep that boy live scope free. We don't need him get him on that cheater box. Come on now, dude.
There you go. So anyway, well, we want to thank you for being on. And again, we're like you. I do conversations whenever it happens, and I'll probably have you on the kayak fishing story at some point. That's
Yeah,
the history side of it.
happy to
Um,
come on whenever, man. I love hanging out and talking with you, Marty.
yeah,
So,
thanks. And then was there was something else too, but I can't remember. Anyway, I know you put on your own podcast, and it's great to listen to. I've listened to it several times. And I hope keep up the great work. I'm sure you have other products in mind. The Smalley games, you guys check that out on his website. That's pretty cool. And with that, I don't think I have anything else. But man, thank you again so much, and good luck up there in the Susky and in your future events here.
thanks, Marty.
All right, see you all.